Okay, hello and welcome back to how to make a WebGL game session, probably day 10 or day 11. I'm not really sure which day we are in, but in this case, I'm developing a game. I'm developing a WebGL game, and I make a lot progress. I managed to go over chapter 1 and chapter 2, and I managed to finalize the logic of chapter 1 and chapter 2, and right now I'm moving towards finalizing all of the logic between the levels, and after that I try to go to the next session for polishing the game elements and adding some visual effects, adding some sounds, etc. And for the last 10 days or 11 days, I'm not really sure, I'm just trying to finalizing the game visual, not game visuals, but only the cubes and shelves and the elements and the props, etc. I'm just going over these things, and my main focus at the beginning is to finalizing the game logic. Then after that, I want to just polish up the elements from some assets from the asset store, and that's all. So where we left off, as you can see, I have a to-do text. I do not use anything fancy for tracking down my progress inside Unity, and a simple text file with some items underneath is enough for me. So let's continue where we left off. Logic flow between chapter 1 and 2 and chapter 1 and 3 transitions should be handled. Okay, what this is trying to say is that when the game is in the first 5 questions are for the chapter 1, and then from question 6 to question 10 is for the chapter 2, and the questions bigger than 11 should be for chapter 3. So when I load the question 5 and I go and touch the target shelf and enter some value, check answer, yes. Please go on. Okay, I touched this customer and I touched that customer, and the customers went there and emptied the shelf. Okay, Apple's prices were adjusted for sale. Okay, that's 50. The thing that is missing is that after finalizing this question 5, this customers element should be disabled and chapter 2 elements refill zone should be enabled. In order to do that, I needed to find my check answer section, which is actually for the flow of chapter 1. When the shelf is emptied, the aftermatch funds refill the shelf. Shelf can be refilled by shelf elements. And after wrote next question logic for chapter 1. Shelf emptied. If shelf elements count is 0, so this is the trigger I should add. But this shelf should know about the customers and refill zone. This is, let's just add a tag for customers and game object customers and game object. What was it? Chapter 2 elements refill zone. Elements refill zone. So at the beginning of the awake, this thing just go and look for them, find the object of type. Find by tag. Find game object. Find tag. Find game object with tag, which was in my case that this is for the customers. Customers. This thing has customers tag, and also after 2 element refill zone, game object, find tag, game object with tag, which is refill zone. So if the question is discovered for chapter 1, if shelf elements count is equal to 0, chapter 1 task, and let's add a logic over here. What was my question 5? Was my distinct question field. If next question shelf is emptied equals to, let's say, 6, and then customers the false, and what was chapter 2 elementary fill zone set active true. Now we go touch here and set this to 40, check answer, touch this guy, and I touch this here also, one element and no element. So object reference, it's null. Game object with tag. Okay, this is null. Why? Because this thing does not manage to find the customers. Find it because why? Why? Also, other thing is missing. So refill zone. Find object by type. Object inactive. Find object inactive. The refill zone has chapter 2 elements. Refill zone. And refill zone true. No. The objects inactive. Okay, what was the potential fixed? Includes. Check refill zone. Okay, what you do not want, like inactive, include, and this should work. Dot game object. And so I needed to do the same for customers. Let's just add customers. Let's just add an empty game object for here and empty script in here and try again. What do not like? Null reference. Null reference. Why are you returning find objects inactive? Object of type game object. Okay, something is weird, something is wrong. Customers. The refill zone, chapter 2 refill zone. Okay. 40, check answer. I touch first customer, touch the second customer. They'll return back to there. Elements. Hey, why don't you get this game object? None. Because it's not. Where is this customers? Answer, touch this guy and touch that guy. They both trying to go over there. One element missing, one another. Okay. Continue, whatever. Move back to start position. By shelf element, customer. This is if this game object active in hierarchy, then move back to start position. If this is active in hierarchy, then let's try again. See if those two lines are customers go over there. One element, two element, and no element is there. And the question changed. But why the canvas is not disabled after the question change? Question load manager. Question manager. Question no field zone. I needed to find this player sensor. Yes, player sensor for not here in undershelf. Chapter 1. Load chapter 1 task. Try to call for chapter 1 task. Enable shelf canvas. Enable talking balloon. Enable shelf canvas. This is called for question 5 and question 6. What is the reason behind that? Okay, touch this guy and touch that guy. They both went for shopping. No elements is left. Customers are missing, but this is called for chapter 1 task. Takes a get current question is not equal to this thing. Shelf is emptied. Right, shelf emptied, then this is called answer. Great. I touched the first guy. I touched the second guy. They were trying to go over there and finishing up the elements. This one thing is called. Why the canvas over here is not disabled? The 2, 11, 2, 11, 12, okay. Was it 3, 8, 13, 3, 8, then 13, this thing, 4, 17, 17, 5, 9, 5, 9, 60, 6, 10, 6. So, for the canvas, this should not be the canvas, but this should be the next shelf canvas. We touch this guy and touch that guy. They were trying to go over here. Yes, the problem was that. Also, I have my refuse zone over here. That was what happened when I touched the refuse zone. Okay, that will be for. By the way, transition between chapter 1 and chapter 2 is okay right now. So let's just go over the next fields. 50. Over and fill the shaft. New carrots are here. And when I return back, the next question is ready. So, unassigned reference. The variable next shaft canvas of the shaft was not assigned. In here, this was the question 11. Yes, there is the question 12, 12, 12. 12 is over here. 11, I will need the canvas of 12. I go and touch the shelf. Okay, what was the question field? Something is weird. Okay, I see the problem that the question 11 and 12 are located under the same shelf. So I needed to change them. I needed to maybe move the order there. I needed to change the question order 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's change the 12 and 16. Question 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 7. Continue from here. 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's just change the position of 12 and let's say 15. 15 and not possible. 12 and 14. 12 and what was the answers for? 12 should not be under 112 and 212. 112 and 212. Also, 14 should not be 114 and 214. Okay, 12 and 14 looks promising. Which is equal to change 112 and 114. Also change 212 and 214. Or just change 14 to 12. Let's set this 14 and 14 to 12. Also work. Go and fill the shelf. Touch here and fill with new carrots. Okay, what was one? It looks like the transition between awesome work. Go and fill the shelf, new carrots, and after filling with new carrots, the chapter 2 elements refill zone should be disabled. And which is chapter 2 elements refill zone. Do not need any updating here. Chapter 2, chapter 1, chapter 3, chapter 2. Okay, let's just copy and paste this here. Will be 11, then both of should be false. Okay, this is true because my current question is 10. I go and touch this and change the question to 50. Awesome work. Next, I go and get the carrots. Then fill this section with carrots. Now okay, chapter 2 elements is finished. However, these two shells are 212 and 112 are plus used to cost. They both opened up. Was enabled is false. Player sensor set correct answer pressed false. So this chapter 1 task is called enable shaft canvas. Enable shaft. Where are you? This is called if player sensor get touched shaft is not null. If this is not null, where do I nullify this? Player sensor, set correct answer pressed false. Question shaft in chapter 3 touched. Where are you? Where is this? Enable. I'm looking for you. Enable shaft for text fields. Okay. Player sensor dot get touched question shaft is not null. Player sensor. Touched shelf is this thing. Okay, after the question changes, I need this to nullify inside question load manager or question manager. Player sensor refill the shelf, and in here I need to layer sensor at null. Okay, now I touch here, answer the correct, then get my carrots, then return back to the shelf again. This one, and apples used to cost $30. Okay, only the question field appears. So this is looking nice. Touch the grapes, touch here. Okay, in chapter 3. Oh, I see a problem in chapter 3. And let's add this to to-do list before. In chapter 3, positive feedback section is not working. In addition to this, in chapter 2, player to not touch the refill zone for touching the shelf. Okay, goes on. And also in chapter 3, after question presented and next button is pressed, dialog box retains on the retains as empty. Alright, touch here. By the way, I see some errors, but nice try. This is not the correct one. Also, after question 15, game and section is not presented. So these are the things that I should take care of. Logic flow between chapter 1 and chapter 2, and chapter 2 and chapter 3 should be handled. This is finalized. Is this shelf answered? Is added to shelves? You need to update the question. Can remove this? It's not used. It's not used. Is this shelf is answer fields? Okay, these are not used. These are not used. And comment out is fine. This is also finalized. In chapter 2, player should not touch the refill zone before touching the shelf. So let's continue on with these things. But first I wanted to see what are these things. Target field is null. What is null? What are you looking for? Twin manager, twin component, debugger, log warning. What you do not like? Okay, just give me the line. Which line? System value, then boolean, log warning, log save code, blah 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 blah. Component core, twin manager. I think that this may be because of positive. Okay, let's find my feedback section. Let's find my feedback section. Load text fields. Unlock chapter 2, introduction, task, question, test, question, positive feedback. Chapter 1, question, positive feedback. Where is my language JSON? Chapter 1, question, 14, positive feedback. Chapter 1, question, 10, positive feedback. Chapter 1, question, 11, positive feedback. Question 11, negative feedback. Okay, so you're not able to find this. Okay, let's see that debug.log positive feed debug.log positive feedback called with key plus load text value. But I want to load the question, let's say 13. Nice try, but another look. When I press the next button, it shows me nothing. Positive feedback called with key. This is not called. So let's start by fixing in here. Text fields. Touch shelf integer equals the answer and current question is bigger than 10. Shelf is selected. Okay, this is not called. So touched shelf and answer. Check answer is not called. Okay, negative feedback is called. Check answer after wrong answer pressed. Why can't I see this? Because of this. Okay, my current value. This is the answer key. This is my answer. When I touch here, okay, they are the same. And current question is existing. Correct shelf is selected. Load text after correct answer. Text field dot answer. Okay, this thing is trying to call that line, but is this the result? I touch here, and when I touch the correct answer, wow, we are quick. They're all set. Then when I press next, the do after match funds should be triggered. I have any reference for or start correct answer. The next button assignment is disable talking balloon. I want to add another callback function for here. Just equalize this to null, and if callback is not null, as do this. Unity engine events unit action cannot convert from system action. Okay, let's say this as system action. And where is this line? Where is that line? And let's try again. Okay, what are the compile error? Do unity events unity action. Unity engine events unity action. Okay. Okay, I go over here, touch this, and touch the correct answer. Calculate, they are all set. Pressing the next one. The next question is okay. Correct feedback in chapter positive feedback section is working right now. In chapter 3, after question presented, the next button is presented. Dialog box stands empty. Okay. Identify another product. I identify another product. Press the next button. Apricots used to cost. Now they cost 50. Apricots used to cost. Apricots used to cost. Chapter 1, task 14. Question text 14. Question text 30. Okay, this loads chapter 1 task. Task action. Then the question text. Next button, assignment if chapter 1 task is called. Okay. Does this load text field has current question? Enable self get current question, set current question, and this problem is related to that this section, this chapter 4 sections does not have any action. Or can I just action 11 task 12 action chapter 1 task 12 action chapter 1 task 12 task 13 chapter 1 task 13 action chapter 1 task 14 chapter 1 task 15 action chapter 1 task 15 chapter 1 task 15 action. So character goes grapes used cost identify. Okay, the question text and action task. It looks like these two need to be changed. Question 14 to action 14. Question 13 to action 13. Question 12 to action 12. Question 11 to action 11. Okay, this say apples, but this should be renamed as cost used to cost. I needed to play with the order inside this language JSON file, so I finalized this one, but in chapter 3 language JSON file should be reordered correctly for the question and feedback flow. And yes, that's all for today, and I managed to this is better than I expected. So I managed to go over some bugs. I managed to finalize some issues. Also, I have discovered some logic flows, but these are not really large problems. That's why I will continue. I will stop for today, and I will continue on tomorrow for going over these logics. So tomorrow, I guess that the logic flow, or I guess the flow of this also one more line for the two filling shells be represented by the cubes. Also for the chapter 1, the shells should be represented shells should be filled by the cubes also. yeah, that's all for today, and I hope to see you for tomorrow. Thanks for watching till now, and this will be a more happier game development than the previous one. This is not the fastest developing game, but still a reasonable amount of time, still within a reasonable amount of time periods. So thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.